Hello. Guess what we are working on today? If you guessed OpenCFace GD, the VTuber render, you would be correct. Let's get to it, I guess. Yeah? Yeah. Let's get to it. Yeah, so I was thinking about it kind of like in my free time, aka a little earlier today. And I think it does make sense for me to not store this as bytes and instead store this as a zip file, basically. So let's go here. So Rust zip library. So we're gonna use, let's just start doing some Rust right now. Why not? I think this will be fun. And by I think this will be fun, what I actually mean is I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's do it. Let's do it anyways. I've never let my lack of knowledge ever stop me from doing anything. Actually, that's not true, but this config data. Yeah, so I think this design makes a bit more sense. So we'll just grab all of these and paste these all into one mega class. And I think I might even change this. But right now this is just gonna be our struct, more or less. Right, so we have all of this stuff. We'll start writing comments so it's easier to kind of like just visually parse. So this is model. Grab this bit. Oh my god, my body is so sore, which is like not supposed to sound lewd, but it's like it's just how things are since I've been working out more. Not to brag or anything. Yeah, I think I used to have like a break day every other day, plus an extended break over the weekend. But now it's kind of turned into, you know, workout every single day of the week. More or less, and then just have a break day. Break days are the weekends now, which was not the case. It used to be Friday and Saturday with the break days. But it's tough, man. Just gotta keep yourself regular somehow, you know? So let's see, this will be props, I suppose. So var props, which is some sort of array, and that kind of maps directly to whatever we have in feature view. So props, yeah, it's really only just like props. Or it's props. Well, so there's main lights and then world environment. Okay, so we can do var main light Huh. Okay, hold on. Main light. So here, right in our feature view, how I had it set up was I didn't store the light object just like that. I actually broke it down into specific values that I then, you know, re-instance when the program, or I reset once the program starts up. So let's see. I think a good way of doing this. Where is this light stored actually? So main light, I is equal to main light dot name. Main light is stored here. The built-ins, So I wonder, should I just store these instead? So instead of just storing a reference to the main light, I instead try to store these values. Yeah, I think that might make more sense. Main light, light color, some sort of dictionary. Oh, what's up? What's up, Run? How are you doing today? I am trying to rewrite the entire save file system so it's it's less prone to error, prone to breakage. Yeah. And I'm also trying to do some cool stuff with it at the same time, which is probably a bad idea. But here we are. Oh, like for the presets? Yeah, kind of like for everything actually. So presets were broken because of how the config file used to work. And it was also pretty scary to change the other stuff as well. Since everything was kind of in its own namespace. So you can think of the old save file system as I just kind of shoved everything into the same drawer. So if you loaded in two different models and had a config file for both, I just kind of stored those both in the same drawer. And then just kind of haphazardly labeled things, which worked at the time because there wasn't a lot of things. Like at the time there was only this data, so it made a lot more sense, right? Like I only had to keep track of which bones to track, and then also like a few tracking options. But then once I started saving the model pose and then saving a bunch of presets, and it kind of became a little too much. So at the time it was a good design since I was only using it for a few very specific options. But once I got to features, aka user generated props, that's when it became a huge mess. So now we have to rewrite it, and while we're rewriting it, I think I might just redo the entire UI, which will hopefully bring me to basically 1.0, because I think this will allow me to what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, fix a bunch of stuff at the same time. Because a lot of the bugs are pretty much because of the config file stuff, I think, hopefully. Well, I'm currently test driving a new phone, Pixel 3 with a custom ROM. Ooh, custom ROM. Pixel 3a isn't that old though, so I guess you're just test driving it for the heck of it. So I used to have a Pixel 4, and that's not too old. Are you using like post-market OS? That's what I'm assuming you're doing. Light, direct energy, some sort of float. So default all to 0, easy peasy. Calyx OS uses micro G to block most of Google trackers, plus some other privacy apps. Ooh, fancy. I've never heard of Calyx OS. I'm assuming that's like an Android variant. Then it's a more privacy focused Android variant as opposed to a kind of Linux kernel variants optimized for old phones. Shockingly easy to install. Good to know. Good to know. I don't know. I know I have a kind of a bad take on privacy, but it's like honestly, I don't really care. As long as it makes my life easier, you can have all the data on me that you want, which I recognize is not a great take, but so be it. Yeah, it's Android still. Linux still isn't ready for daily driving as a phone. Yeah. I'm following the Pine phone though pretty closely. I like what the Pine phone is doing because they actually have a product, unlike the other one. What's the other one called? There's two big Linux phones. There's the Pine phone, and then there's the other one, which is slightly better spec'd, but way more expensive. Librem 5, yeah. Pine Watch is out. I was considering getting one of those because that looked pretty cool. Environment. This is some sort of dictionary. We'll just do, this is the JSON util. Color to dictionary. Yeah, but I think, isn't the Pine phone's like $200 while the Librem 5 is like 600? Just absolutely insane. Ambient light energy. Some sort of float, 0 bar, world environment. Ambient light sky contribution. Alright, so this is getting to like Java style and Java style variable names where they're just super long, but so be it. Alright, so this is instanced props. Alright, cool. So I think this is a slightly better thing to use. So these are all now just config datas. Where is model data used? Not used anywhere else, right? Yeah. I think Ubuntu Touch is the most polished OS, but they don't have any hardware of their own, though you can put on a OnePlus 3T. And Sailfish. But Sailfish can only be on Sony phones. It requires a subscription. Wasn't Sailfish? I thought Sailfish was the Nokia OS, or am I thinking of something different? Or it's not the Nokia OS, but it was the company formed by Nokia engineers who had their own phone. Yeah, but Ubuntu Touch doesn't isn't it, you know, your favorite desktop environment, isn't it like KDE Mobile? That's what both Librem 5 and Pine OS generally are tailored for. Isn't that true? Don't remember. Kind of just talking out of my ass at this point. But it's kind of what I remember. Not exactly. Config data. So this will be config data new. Config data, and this will be config data new. That's easy. Love KDE on my PC. I don't think it works well for a phone. As well for a phone. I have no idea. I don't know. I think if you're talking about phone usability, you're talking to the wrong guy, since I generally dislike trying to do anything on a phone. Like, I think I'm pretty okay at it. I'm actually able to type without looking at the keyboard, oh baby. But I think in terms of usability, I'm more of just like, give me everything on a page and then hide everything else. And that's pretty much my idea of usability. I don't like No on my PC, but I think it's the best DE for phones, for phone touchscreens. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have no idea. I'll take your word for it. I do remember Ubuntu Touch way back in the day, though, when they were trying to make the Ubuntu phone. I thought it'd be really cool. Alright, so we load all this stuff. Bum, bum, bum. Early return if it doesn't exist. Probably just gonna save all of these to JSON. So this will be horrible. I feel like I should shill for GNOME more, considering that my company is one of the one of the lead developers for GNOME. But I also not a huge fan of GNOME, but not a huge fan of KDE either. So Ubuntu. Kind of reminds me of the. It's like the college humor skit with the Matrix. It's running on Ubuntu. Oh. So now I'm probably gonna finally build the new version of this. Really? Are they hiring? Oh yeah, my company. Yeah, they're always hiring, especially in the consulting space. Of course, I won't be name dropping them on stream, but it's generally pretty easy to find out which company I work for if you just Google my name plus the fact, I don't know, plus additional details on, you know, I'll leave the programmer in you to gather all the clues. Here's what you have to figure out the company name yourself. Yeah, pretty much, but I don't know, I get a little paranoid. If I make it too easy, then you'll have just random trolls just like trolling me. But if I make it so you have to dig a little bit, then I got you. Because then I can view if you, then I can check to see if you've actually viewed my profile on LinkedIn. And so I didn't just dox you. No, I didn't just dox myself. I just doxed you. It's a counter dox, but not really, because it's provided by LinkedIn. I'm scared what the search can bring back, Monka S. It's a deep rabbit hole for sure. Alright, well, so we'll do save returns a dictionary. That's not the syntax. Been doing a lot of Golang. But yeah, I mean, if you are looking for a new job, the company I work for is always hiring consultants because, of course, consulting is a meat grinder, yada yada. I am also in the meat grinder, so. dark weeb stuff. It's one level deeper than dark web. You can tell it's one level deeper because there's an extra E. No, I don't do any weeb stuff at work. It's one of those things where it's like you got to keep that stuff to yourself. It's all about how you present yourself, not about the actual content of whatever you're saying. Let's see, maps, bones. I wish there was an easier way to do this. I wonder. Actually, I wonder. So if we do this, Godot, access class, properties. How do I iterate members of a class? And then we do get property list. Ooh. So here's the idea. We do for I in get property list. And so get property list gives you pretty much every single property. Wait a minute. No. Object get property list. Name, string. No, well, the name and type contains a hint. Let's see. That's what the psychiatrist said. What is that? Did I say something accidentally kind of messed up? Alright, tell you what. Body is extra sore today. Ugh. Went for a run, had to run super fast because now I have an additional morning meeting. So now I have to wake up even earlier in order to get the daily workout in. So actually, sitting down is hurting my back. And you might be saying, didn't you just say that you went for a run this morning? And yes, I know what I said. That run hurt my back. So don't mind me, I'm just converting my desk to a standing desk. There we go. But yeah. Good luck on compiling the new version of this run. It's I think the new version is better. Hard to say. In terms of usability for just regular models, I think it's about the same. For VRM models, I think it should be closer to what other programs do. Will the 1.0 release get the name change as well? No. I think after the 1.0 release, this project will probably just go on well, not maintenance, or not standby mode, not maintenance mode, but I'm going to try to start rewriting this in Godot 4.0, which I've already started to do actually. But yeah, the new stuff, which utilizes a lot of the same code, but just rewritten for 4.0 and also re-architected to allow for multiple renderer or multiple face tracking backends will be in, I guess, the under the new name. Rewrite will have the new name, yeah. Where the big thing about the rewrites is that, one, it's in Godot 4, so it's actually not too hard to do, right? So let me see. I can pull it up right now. I have this version compiled on, I think it was 8.2. Even though the name says it was compiled on 731. You can look at this. This is glorious. It's Godot 4. It takes a while. Look at this. It generates a really long error when it first boots up, because all the shaders are slightly off. There's a shader bug, but it's not my fault. Just wait for it. We're in the Matrix, boys. Oh, look at that. I love it. So, it's pretty much all here. Except it doesn't really work when I turn it on. Actually, it hard crashes when it turns on, and I know why, but there's not really a fix. But anyways, the basic structure ported pretty easily. I'm not sure what the point of me showing that was, but except to demonstrate that it does indeed exist. Anyways, let's see. Oh yeah, using your idea, Ren. It's under VSS. You are credited in the README, even though it's not a public repository yet. It's just there. Should be not too difficult to start working on once Godot 4.0 alpha drops, whenever that is. But that, I don't know. I think the earliest Godot 4.0 will have an alpha, a public alpha. It's probably going to be November. It does not feel ready yet whatsoever. Like, I think Godot 3, the version that I'm currently using, I think it's only ever crashed on stream like twice. Whereas Godot 4, constant crashes. GDScript 2.0, which has, it's just better. Better trademark symbol. That one's missing a lot of features. I think, well, it's not, well, yeah, it is missing features because it's like buggy. So like the current way that I have a lot of the tracking set up right now, so you have App Manager and then you just have the face tracker. That does not work in Godot 4.0 currently. Actually, having any singleton classes doesn't really work, unfortunately. So it's not possible for me to use the same architecture right now. Software architecture. I wonder, what does get property list give me? I need like a smaller project to test this on. Hold on, let's pull up another project. Do I have a test project? Let's see. I don't really have a test project, but let's just try it on. Hey, what is idle typer? But once it's restructured, it'll work like before. That's the idea, hopefully, because like the process of porting code over is more or less just copy and paste and then fix everything that gives errors. So yeah, that's the hope, is that everything should work as before. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, etc., etc. But yeah. All right, we're gonna do this really quick. Don't do any of this. So this is cm config data new. So yeah, that's why I'm waiting until 1.0 of OpenCFace GD to do the big rewrite. And of course, in the meantime, until Godot 4.0 is released, I'll also be working on just random improvements. So Leap Motion's on the list. Adding media pipe is on the list, although I do want to kind of hold off on media pipe for now until I rewrite the face tracking backend. All right, there we go. So what do we got? What do we got? We have class name. All right, so we're looking for things that don't have class names. Hey. Instanced props. Script variables. Okay, so I think I just have to filter out reference, script, and script variables. Although this is kind of a bad way of doing it. Leap motion already? Should I start looking into grabbing one? You don't have to. No. I mean, because I don't know when 1.0 for this is going to be out, so you shouldn't... You know, don't be in a hurry to do it, you know? But I think that's the plan. It's either Leap Motion or Live 2D. So, and I'm kind of thinking about what to do for Live 2D in order to kind of separate myself from their license, because I know licensing can get kind of tricky. Since Live 2D does have the Live 2D open source license, which is like a super restricted kind of like, you can use this, but you may not redistribute it. I just want to get one before people start scalping them. Okay, well that's fair. That's fair enough. Yeah, it is on the list though. Yeah, it's kind of in, you know, priority 1 after 1.0. Live 2D / Leap Motion, depending on which one sounds more interesting. I kind of know how Live 2D works, and also there's random implementations of it just around. Like I think I have that linked in my GitHub issues. Let me see. Dragon Bones is also there, but Dragon Bones looks kind of jank. Yeah, Vignet Live 2D. So I'm not sure how far they've come along on this, since I haven't actually checked it yet. But it is MIT licensed, so you know, they have this part here, which looks cool. Looks like they've pretty much mapped out everything that I would need to implement. And also it's in C# as opposed to C++, which makes my life a lot easier. Since I hate writing, or I hate reading C++. I hate reading and writing C++, I should say. I think if you want to do Live 2D, you should have a separate app until you can figure out if you can license it the way you want. Yeah, well, I think the idea for Live 2D is I just create like a separate repository with just the Live 2D code. And then I work out some sort of build system between the two. So if you want to have the Live 2D app or Live 2D enabled kind of renderer, you'll need to go to the Live 2D repo and grab that binary. Or if you want to build it yourself, you'll need to grab the main like OpenCFace and then also grab the Live 2D kind of GD script library that I'll probably write. And then just kind of mix them together, follow the instructions. And that's how you would do it. That's how you would build it manually. You're probably gonna have a Live 2D plugin. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. That's actually the path I want to go for when I rewrite this in Godot 4.0, is to make it just more pluggable, right? So renderer backends, model backends, etc. So like I'll also split off the VRM model capability. So it'll just be, you know, GLB models. Provide the VRM as a default, because VRM is very permissive. Live 2D will just be on the other repo. And then that also opens up the entire program to being, you know, other people can write their own backends. Like you can have an MMR model backend, because I know that a lot of companies, for whatever reason, just have MMR models. Or it's not MMR, MMD. MMR is matchmaking rank. MMD. Yeah, say VRM in the base version as the default 3D model for VTubers, yeah. But something else that would be really cool is to support MMD models, which I think is the kind of precursor to VRM. MMD is the Miku Miku dance format. Which, I suppose, check it out. There are just random Miku Miku dance models out for like a lot of random stuff. Like I think all of Hollow Live, they have fan-made Miku Miku dance models, which not saying that you should use those, but just saying that those exist for whatever reason. If you can find a way to convert VRM to MMD, you'll be a lifesaver. The only app that can do it hasn't been updated in years. Oh, well, I'm not saying converting to MMD. I'm saying just being able to load and face track a MMD model. I think converting to MMD sounds like a really daunting task. So not I in whatever this is. Yeah, but what's the... I'm assuming it's some sort of Japanese app that does the VRM to MMD stuff, right? Let me see, let's grab all of this. And I hate how in the Windows command line, in order to like copy, you have to press Control C, because on Linux, pressing Control C stops program execution. That just really bothers me. It's like, am I about to just crash my program? No, that's just Windows. But yeah, no, that's the idea, is to make all of the kind of renderer backends pluggable like that. So you don't have to know everything about the main application if you just want to, you know, support a new file format. Right, so that opens me up to, you know, making VRM pluggable, leads to me being able to make MMD models, MMD models pluggable, Live 2D pluggable, Inochi 2D pluggable, all that good stuff, right? My vote is for Leap Motion for to be at the same level as, it's still for Leap Motion first, be at the same level as VS7 and stuff. That's fair, that's fair. I'll keep it in mind. Let's see, what do I do? Results would be I name is equal to get I. I think this works. So we're using a bit of runtime reflection in order to just do this, right? As opposed to having to manually type in every single variable that we want to save. This has the potential to really break itself though. So that could be scary. It could be scary. Actually, we should do this, right? So we do var I value is equal to get I. And then if I type of I value, or can I just match type of? Yeah, I can just match type of I value. We can do value. Oh, is it type? Yeah, type color. Then we have type transform. Was the last commit the one that fixed the eyes? Okay, so if you are working off of the most recent repo, or if you're working off a master, let me see. So this commit was the one that fixed the eyes, but you should just use whatever the latest one is. Yeah, this one just disables tests. Update readme. Yeah, you should just use master, yeah. But yeah, this last commit was the one that fixed the eyes using a bunch of really painful code. I don't want to do that again. The mental overhead that it required is a little beyond me. Okay, then I do need to rebuild it. Yes. Yep. And then after this, whenever I'm done doing whatever I'm doing, then you'll need to also delete your save file. But who knows when that'll be done. Actually, hopefully I'll have this done. Or at least this portion of it done by end of this week. We'll see. We'll see how easy it is. Ugh. 1 second, I need to blow my nose. Hello. Hello. Okay, instead of blowing my nose, I instead just opted to just sniff really hard. Because I'm apparently a child, but also, I don't know where my tissue box is. Or just where my tissues in general are. That's one of the things I got lost in the move. It's just, it doesn't exist anymore. Alright, so we'll do result name, or result I.name is equal to I of value. And then here, we'll just, yeah, this is basically just do nothing. Yeah, so do nothing, explicitly do nothing. This one will need to do I value is equal to JSON util color to dictionary. Color to dictionary I value. There we go. And then this one will be I value is equal to JSON util transform to dictionary. And then we'll have to have like since there's a save function, there needs to be a corresponding load function as well. Which shouldn't be too bad, I think. Although, oh no. So here's the, I think the biggest difference between this new architecture and the existing one is that the existing one splits up your save data based on which tab you're in, whereas this one, I just kind of throw all your save data into the same bucket, which makes it easier for me to, I guess, link it to a specific model, because there's not really a good reason to split it up by bucket. Splitting it up by bucket just makes it harder to find. So one, this should be more human readable, hopefully. Because it is just going to be JSON. But now I need to think about, since I'm not splitting it up by bucket anymore, so now it's a bit harder to load things in, I suppose. Human readable is always nice. Yeah. I think it's nice when you, where human readable is nice when something breaks, so it's easier to debug. And also in just my case, I don't really want to have to think about a binary format. Like, I think that's what I was trying to do, but I've decided against it. Alright, so let's get as JSON. JSON. And this is load from JSON. So this will be some sort of string. JSON string. And then it'll just auto-populate these fields. And so this is kind of where I'm realizing my current structure is running into problems. So I need to do something like this instead. So hold on. Type. So what did these types map to? So type 3, headbone is type 4. What? Let me see. Type string. Type string. Hold on. I just need to compare these. Oh, so these map directly to the actual types. So type 3 should be a float. Rotation damp is a float. Type 3 is a real. Oh yeah, that's more or less what I meant. Float, real. How can my numbers be real if our arrays aren't real? It's probably my favorite Twitter meme. Also, I'm not like up to date on the Twitter game. You know, that's actually one of the questions they asked me when I was interviewing for Twitter. Is like, they were like, do you use Twitter? I was like, yeah, pretty much. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, tell me about, what's your favorite part about Twitter culture? I'm like, so like, you mean like, you're talking about like public Twitter, right? And like, yeah. I'm like, oh God. I think like Twitter as a whole is kind of a cesspool, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm really just there to occasionally for memes, mostly to just like look at art. Okay, so I think I need to do this. So data value. So we'll do var. Oh my. Oh no. Alright, so let's have another class. Save file. Or we can have, yeah, it'll be called something like class data point. Yeah, I like that. Data point. And then this will just be, we'll have data type, which is some sort of int, and then var data value, which is unknown, I suppose. Right? So the reason why I'm doing this, as opposed to just constructing a dictionary, like here, is that dictionaries, so if you change how you're accessing the dictionary, or you change how the dictionary is structured, you don't get errors down the line, like saying that your dictionary has changed. Whereas if you do it like this, creating just a class to hold your data structure, if you change your class, then you'll get errors down the line saying that like, oh, you null pointed, as opposed to, your dictionary doesn't contain this value. Because there's a lot of reasons why your dictionary might not contain a value. However, your class is more set in stone, so this makes slightly more sense to do, or to use. Yeah. So data point is equal to one of these. So data points, And then we'll do, let's see, I value. And we can do data points dot data type is equal to type of I value. And then we'll just match on the data points data type, since now we've just stored this operation in this variable. Then we'll do I value is equal to whatever. So actually at this point, this I value is actually a it's actually a dictionary. It's no longer a color, which is why I have to do this operation first. We need to get a type of, then we convert it to a dictionary. Very nice. Do data points. Data value is equal to I value. So we just set it equal to whatever the converted value is. And then, oh, and then we need to do func get as JSON. I suppose it's not really a JSON, it's just get as dictionary, I suppose. Get as dict. So return this one. It makes more sense just to return a raw dictionary because there's only two values and they don't change. Data type and then value will be a data value. Very nice. This one has to be get as dict. Let's see. Data points. Set this equal to data points get as dict. There we go. I think at manager. No, at manager is fine. Yeah, this doesn't do anything. Okay, so there's load from JSON and then get as dict. So basically this is the save, this is the load. Yeah, so I think this is done. Yeah, okay, so it converts everything. Or we iterate through all variables and generates a dictionary. Iterate through all variables, convert variables into dictionaries if needed, and then store variables, and then return a dictionary of those variables. Using reflection. Okay. So that's how that will work. So I'm wondering, I think, yeah, metadata, that's good. Config data, let me see. How will this work? Loading from JSON should be pretty easy, so I might as well implement that right now. So we do var JSON results is equal to parse JSON, JSON string, right? Then we do if type of JSON results is not type dictionary, then do an early return, something is wrong, at manager, log message, log message will say that it's invalid config data loaded. Okay. And actually, this should be true. So the second value, second parameter, just indicates that we should stop inside of the editor. So it's only valid during debug, yada yada. So okay. If type of JSON result is not type dictionary, then invalid config data loaded. Then just do an early return since it's impossible to parse at this point. Then we'll just, let's see, we'll do for I in JSON result dot keys. And let me just check that this is valid. JSON result as dictionary dot keys. Yeah. Okay, so we have the keys. Each key will be the name. And since we're not, nesting them inside of, view specific buckets, everything is in the same bucket, so we don't need to worry about, doing it per view. Now we can just do a single level for loop. Oh baby, I'm liking this more already since I think I used to have to filter the data when I was pulling it, but now I don't have to do that anymore. Now I can just pull from the big bucket. So if I want to duplicate data across multiple views for whatever reason, that's easy. Just expose the data like that. So let's see, for I in JSON result as dictionary dot keys, we can do var data. So there should be some sort of dictionary is equal to, well, let's not do that yet. We'll do data is equal to JSON result I. Well, we'll call it key actually. And then we'll do another type of check just in case. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but speed doesn't really matter since this is a one-time operation. So this should be another dictionary. Manager, log message. And then this will be invalid data points loaded. And early return. So just stop loading at this point. If we ever run into an invalid key, stop loading in your data immediately. And with all these improvements, I may as well just wait until tomorrow to rebuild this. Well, this isn't going to be in by tomorrow. This will hopefully be in by the end of the week. So hopefully after Thursday, it should be good. I think you should be using the latest Godot beta though. So I think the latest Godot beta is beta 2. So you don't really need to do a lot of rebuilding. You only need to download two things. You need to download the new editor and then the new release template. Or I suppose you don't even need to use the release template if you don't want to. You could just run it from the editor. Let's see, data, we'll do set, let me see, key, well, var data value is equal to data value, since that's what I called it. You see this, that's data points, so yeah, it's fine. We'll probably want the template. Yeah, probably. Well, if you're just testing it out, if you actually want to use it, for a stream or whatever, then yeah, you definitely want the release template, the production release template. It's not called the production release template. It's called the, what is it called? Brain is broken. Oh, it's called the release template. What I meant was export template, and then you want the release template, not the release debug template, which is generally what I use. I think that's actually what I'm using right now. I'm just using a release debug template, aka just the editor. the same exe, or the same binary, I suppose. So data value. Const value key string, call it a value, and then const type key string type. All right, easy. And then we'll replace this, so no more magic strings. And then I'll also reuse this for, oh god, that's a cursed image. Okay, I'll take a mush. Nice. Alright, so 3 dudes wearing blue shirts and a mushroom walk into a bar. Bartender asks, "What do you have?" The 3 dudes answer in unison, "I'll have a beer." And then the mushroom just stares at him because it's a mushroom. What's up, Knock? I was gonna tell a different joke, but I forgot the punchline, so I just went with an anti-joke. It's going. It's going. Every day, my day job gets further and further away from actual programming. You know, now I'm just in meetings all day, explaining the same thing over and over to people. Because I think they've a few people have asked and they've realized that I'm a consultant, so they're like, oh, we can really screw this guy over, or we can really like block this guy from actually getting anything done. So let's just drag him into a bunch of meetings to discuss the same thing over and over. So I've countered by just sending a million emails instead. Oh, thank you for the well done, and also for the sympathy, I guess. It's okay. I have laid a paper trail, so I'm covered. You know, I've done the classic company thing and just copy a million people on it as well. Of course, every single one of these email chains ends with "let's schedule a meeting," and then I just send out meeting notes afterwards. So, you know, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. Sure am glad I work where I work. Which sounds facetious, but it's actually not so bad. Actually not so bad. Let's see. Let's do a match. Data points type key. And then if it's type color. Yeah, but how are you doing today? I mean, it does sound like it could be better. Yeah, well, I mean, if it's, you can think of it like this, right? I get paid the salary of like a combination programmer / business analyst, but all I really do, I don't do business analyst stuff, I don't do programmer stuff, I just sit in meetings. So it's like, I guess I'm being like severely undervalued, but Also, I got extended on my project until December, so I guess I'm doing okay. Hey man, like, my take on it is if they just want to pay me to sit on my butt, I'll just sit on my butt, I guess. And I'll do programming stuff in my free time. Alright, so we have the data value is equal to a JSON util, dictionary to color, data value. Yes. And then this one will be data value is equal to JSON util, dictionary to transform. Yeah. Yeah. I think you can think of it like this. It's the pretty much the dream of all programmers out there, which is like you have the programmer salary, but you don't actually have to do the programmer work. Or any work, really. Because, like, if they want to get embroiled in bureaucracy, that's kind of my specialty. Is sending emails. I type really fast. I read really fast. You know? They've recently dragged me into another daily call. Which is why I think I'm going to have to start doing my streams earlier so I can go to sleep earlier. Because it's at 9:30 a.m., which isn't actually that early. That's about standard, but I used to just have an 11 a.m. call in the morning, and then everything else is in the afternoon. Ugh. But it means I have to wake up earlier, even earlier, to work out. But yeah. Like, I do all of the, you know, the standard office stuff really well. Data processing skills, off the chain. Ability to speak in meetings, also off the chain. Very good. I can reword the same thing 10 different ways. Speakers, so I'll die if I don't get the program. I have to sit in meetings all day. One meeting a day is basically just chatting for 20 minutes and 10 minutes of actual work talk. God, I hate having like non-work talk in a work meeting. That would actually kill me. It's like, I don't care about where you once on the weekend, man. Just shut up, please. Like, yeah, I get it. You do CrossFit, which is like not a joke. We do have a guy on our team who is just like, yeah, just got back from my CrossFit class this morning. I'm like, man, what do you mean this morning? You CrossFit at like 6:30 a.m.? I can ignore them if I'm not interested. Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. Usually, if I'm running the meeting, I'll just say like, oh, looks like we have everyone here. Sorry to cut you off. Let's get going. Oh, what's up, DeadSec? You tried to roll the duck. Didn't quite work. We do have 3 people who have rolled blue shirts though, so it's pretty good. I can know if I'm not interested, but I like these people, so I don't mind. Oh, I think most of my co-workers are kind of weird. T-pose. Yeah. We just have the model in the background with a T-pose. Let's see. Set key. Yeah. Alright, so check it out. This is the new code for handling save data. I think this is actually pretty good. Even though I've been just talking about random things for like the past 10 minutes. Or I guess like the past however long I've been streaming. Hour and a half. Check it out. I think this is pretty bulletproof. Yeah, I have the VRM model loaded in the background. There's no way to pose it right now. That's something I would like to do, is have better handling of these just like background props. No, this is to assert dominance though. Wouldn't you be scared if you just had random anime girl like posing behind you in a T pose? And also if I look up, you get like a pretty sweet upskirt. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Or if I shake my head too fast, you also get the, the upskirt. Dominant, sure. Alright. I think, well, if I stacked a few of them on top of each other, right? Like they were standing on each other's shoulders, that'd be like the ultimate show of dominance. Lewd. That's okay. This is now a lewd stream. It's not really booba. What's it would just be like a pantsu stream. Are those a thing on Twitch? Yo, actually, here's a story. So like, please don't judge me, but I do enjoy listening to ASMR. Because for whatever reason, my hearing is still intact after all these years. Still have a very wide range of sounds I can hear. So, you know, was listening to some ASMR. Clicking around, found one. It was like, you know, check out my, you know, check out the demo ASMR thing I have on Nico video. I was like, what does this even mean? Click onto it. It has like a mosaic filter over the video, so they're actually doing something and they're like just making like sounds like they're eating the mic. It's like, and I can kind of tell from the mosaic, like I can kind of tell what they're doing. I'm like, oh my god. This is just a softcore porn. Like if I don't know, if I wanted to listen to this, there are other sites I can go to, but I kind of get what you're doing. It's actually pretty ingenious. There's ASMR and then there's ASMR. Hey, what's this? Notices your bulge. Okay, so ignore that. So, Mr. Wackler, this is what I am making. I am working on this program right here. It's open source on GitHub under an MIT license, which is extremely permissive. What I am doing right now is I am rewriting the entire config file system so that things don't break whenever I make new changes. So right now, actually, for me, this presets tab doesn't really work because of how the save file system just kind of organically came together. So instead of trying to fix the current system, I'm just rewriting it. And then hopefully this should also fix a bunch of bugs that are currently in the program as well. Since I think a lot of it is because it loads in the data incorrectly and then, or it saves the data incorrectly, maybe it loads it in incorrectly, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a VTuber renderer. So it works for, you know, the standard VTuber models that you can kind of see in the background. And then also for just random models like this one. So this one is actually face tracking me. This one is just, you know, it's just loaded in. So it has like the VTuber physics enabled, but it doesn't have any face tracking enabled. Although that would be pretty cool if you could face track multiple models in the same scene. We'll leave that for later. Oh, thanks for the follow, by the way, Mr. Wackler. Yeah, I provide builds for Windows and Linux, if you're interested. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really useful it's really only useful for streaming, unless you're doing like video calls and you want to, I don't know, load in an anime model or whatever. I provide the duck model for free as well, since I created the duck. So you can just use that if you want on like video calls. As kids are wont to do nowadays. Actually, you can't use this on iPhone yet, so. Yo, I didn't just learn this, but a few months back, I found out that my parents pretty much exclusively do like Apple FaceTime. Since my entire family uses iPhones except for me, I only use Android phones since, you know, I'm kind of nerdy. But yeah, like, apparently, like, FaceTiming is a big thing now. I had no idea. I haven't had an iPhone in so long, so now I'm out of the loop. Discord calls, hey bro, why are you a ducking duck? A duckling duck. I think it's cool though, you know? You don't have to be a duck. As long as you have a rigged model, you can load in pretty much anything. And it will work as long as your model is rigged. So it'll work for any GLB model, any VRM model, or you can load up Godot and just do whatever you want, I suppose. Yeah, Android dominance, I suppose. I don't know. I think I used to have more of an opinion about which phone I would like to use. But now it's like, I work from home like 99% of the time. Like I used to travel for work, so I actually had to use my phone more, but now it's like, if I can do it on my phone, I can also just do it on my computer, so no longer have like a real opinion about phones, unfortunately. Okay, so let's try this. Save this. Hopefully this doesn't crash. Bum bum bum. Ah! Okay, didn't... Oh, I suppose this is kind of a crash. Invalid get index. Metadata config. Metadata config. Wait. What? Metadata config. What? Wait. What? What happened here? What did I do? Begin loading metadata. Res export app config JSON does not exist. Oh, and then we just don't do anything with it. I forgot. I forgot that's what I do. So we should do a metadata config and just create a new one, I suppose. So let's open up config manager on this side so I can just look at it. So set up. Oh, here's why I messed up. Is that I have a few null pointer checks, or I guess null value checks. But then I don't actually... Wait a minute, hold on. Actually, no. Wait. Oh, I am... Wait. I've confused myself. I think I am handling it, I'm just not handling it correctly. If not load metadata, then we want to do this. File path, create a new file. Metadata config get as JSON store string. Metadata, where do I get metadata config from? Am I crazy? Metadata config. Metadata.new. Default model to load. Default model to load path. Ah. There we go. Alright. It was not a concern. Wasn't even worried. Turns out I'd actually already handled it. I just wrote I wrote some fields wrong, and then it did not generate an editor error for me. Which is fair. It's fair. Assert corrupted config file found. Alright, so did it regenerate the config file for me? It did. Oh, that's good. There's nothing in it. Okay. Hold on. Get as JSON. Get as JSON. Bum bum bum. If it doesn't exist, then we write this stuff to it. Store string metadata config get as JSON. Load metadata works implicitly. So metadata config load from JSON. Okay, yeah. I think we're good. Wait for it. Oh, baby, I think it worked. Because we didn't crash, or we didn't hit an error. Look at this. And then we go into jsonbeautifier.org. Been using this a lot. Beautify, and then we have default model of path, nothing, which makes sense. Default search path, roots, makes sense. Model data, nothing. Model defaults, nothing. Did I spell model wrong? How do you spell model? Do you spell model with an E or an A? Model. Okay. A modal is it's like a web design thing. Okay. I'm sorry, I got mind flooded for a little bit there. Don't know what happened. Okay, so then we should be able to close this and then reopen it without running into any errors. So we parse. Oh, that's fine actually. Oh, it's because it tried to load the the existing one. It's a UI design thing. Yeah. So you have different modals. What actually? Wouldn't this be considered a modal? Aren't these, or are these just tabs? I forget. Are those modals, or are those just like more or less tabs, right? I guess tabs kind of like have something to indicate that they're pressed, whereas mine don't. I'm working on it though. The UI does need to be redesigned for this as well. I think once I get this into a functioning state, it should be pretty easy. I think that we consider modal, but I doubt most people will call it that. Okay. Yeah, because isn't modals just take in a certain mode and then change what they're displaying based on input, right? So technically a lot of things would be considered modal, but in UI design it has a slightly more... Yeah. UI design has a slightly more specific thing associated with modals. But Vim is a modal editor. Different modes. Yeah. But I feel like if you had like a drop down, and then you select one of the drop down options, and then somewhere on the right side, everything changed, that would be considered a modal. But that's not really what people consider to be a modal. But they more considered to be like if you click on a button, or you click on a button option and then the button changes, they would consider that to be a modal, right? No? Right, because wouldn't the right side just have different modes that are controlled by something on the left side, or is that the wrong understanding? Modes mean you have different sets of functionality based on state. Well, okay. That makes sense to me. I've been outed. I don't usually do UI design. Or actually, like any application design for, in general. Professionally, integration developer / CI/CD, aka DevOps developer. In addition to just doing like random infrastructure automation. Whereas... where that kind of stuff doesn't really have modals. You just have the path. Or in the case of infrastructure, it's just, I don't know, infrastructure. Lots of setup. Okay, so we want to do, so we don't want to do this. We just want to do CM setup, and then everything else should be accessing CM in order to load data. Do X by mode Y but not mode Z, for example. Yeah. The Vim example is a pretty good one. Yeah, so Vim, you have command mode, where you can do all the fancy command mode stuff, and then you have insert mode. Are there other modes to Vim, by the way? I've never thought about it. I've only ever used, I use command mode for scrolling up, scrolling down, searching, skipping over words, and then doing like basic selection using V, whatever the V key does. And then go back to command mode, and then press either A, O, capital O, or I in order to enter insert mode. Also, isn't it command mode or is it normal mode? I've always called it command mode. Okay, normal mode? Okay. I'll trust you. I suppose that's fine, considering that most of my coworkers still call it VI. Even though it's Vim on most modern systems. Although I have worked on systems that only have VI, which is always a pain to use. Yeah, I think this works, right? So CM setup, and then we can still hook into everything else here. So we do CM setup. I think a lot of things are going to fail to load, but that's fine. Okay, set file to load. Where does this get called? Where is this in the call stack? I mean, if they run VI, they're using VI compatible mode. I suppose. I've never actually looked at which command they're inputting, so I don't know. Maybe they're running in VI compatible mode. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why you would want to on most systems, though. Considering that most of the systems we work on are fairly modern, it's only the weird outliers that only have VI. I don't know. They can do whatever they want. CM. I just looked it up. Command mode is when you use... Oh, there we go. So I was just... It is a real mode. Command mode is a real mode. I was just using the wrong name for normal mode. Oh, baby. Looks like the eggs on both of our faces now. Yeah, so whenever you hit it with the colon WQ. That's always a good one. Yeah, I've not seen people refer to command mode before, just commands. I don't know. Using Vim is kind of how I approach programming in general. I only learn the parts I need to learn. I'll read about the other stuff and then just kind of make incorrect references to them until I need to learn more and then realize I'm wrong. Just commands. I've always considered that part of mode. That makes sense. Very good. Apps manager set file to load. App manager goes to here. App config does not have this anymore. App config. Okay, so this needs to change as well. Okay, so let's change this here just in the Godot editor. This seems like it's a bug. Why is this pointer still here? How strange. Let's see. Current model name. Yeah, so we can grab a lot of this stuff. Current model path, file path. Not app config. And then the error was that this doesn't exist. Or that it's an invalid index. Okay. So we can do comment that out. Now we're no longer using app config. Where do I use app config? App config. Oh geez. That's okay. We don't worry about it too much for now. We'll do cm dot. No, I need to do this from. need to do this from here. So app manager. Well, we'll just do it here. So cm dot current model config. Where do I load in current model config? Did I finish that yet? I don't think I have actually. That's metadata config. Oh, and then I need to load in current model config somewhere. So this is config data, config data. So we load in. All right, so we can do, yeah, I think I jumped ahead of, I got ahead of myself there. I should have done this part first. So we do default config name to config path, model name to config name. So we do if model, well, it's metadata config dot model defaults has if metadata config model defaults has metadata config default model to load path, then we'll do a thing. Or actually, we'll do the opposite. So if it does not have that, then we'll just load in a, well, we don't want to short circuit here, so this makes more sense. So if it has a thing, then do whatever. Otherwise, load in a default. So this is current model config is equal to, I guess it's just like it's just a new one, right? So config data dot new. Whereas this one should be current model config is equal to load config. All right, so model name to config name, and then this is config name to config path. So we'll do load config from metadata config model defaults dot metadata config default model to load path. Yeah, look at that. Returns void. That makes sense. Actually, yeah, that makes more sense to just do load config. Yeah. And then this one, we'll just fill it out. This works implicitly, so it's easy. Considering that update config will also work implicitly. So there's no return. It just modifies itself. So config data new, blah, blah, blah. If that does not exist, then we have a problem. We've already done this check before, I guess. Actually, we should do, if it doesn't exist, then current model config is equal to current, or just a new config data, an empty one, basically. Right? And now this one we'll do, look at that. We're building in null safety checks as we go. So config data. Let's see, this will be config file, which is a file.new, config file dot open path file dot read. Okay. And then let's see. Actually, we should do this, right? So load config, we always set it. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I should do. Current model config. So up here, I don't store it in a temporary variable. I just work off the current one, right? Because whenever you request to load in a new config, you're also probably loading in a new model. So we should just break your configuration basically, because that's expected. Is if you try to load in a new model, but your config for that model doesn't exist, however, your metadata still thinks it exists, we should actually break it for you. Otherwise, you'll be trying to use your new model that you loaded in with your old model configs, which is what would have happened had I used this, I guess, that previous architecture. So even though this is, I guess, more prone to breakage, I guess, it's breakage that's expected if something's broken, right? We don't want it to fail silently, I guess. Yeah. So rude. Makes sense to me. Yeah. I mean, that's probably like the biggest thing I've learned from, you know, working this job, is that failing silently is probably one of the worst things that could ever happen to you. So like there's like being null safe has its merits, but I think if you encounter a null value where you weren't expecting a null value, you should probably break immediately. Otherwise, you know, the app is probably going to keep working without you knowing why. Yeah, it's the fail fast methodology or idea. It's called null safety. Absolutely not. We want null safety. However, we also want to fail as fast as possible. So we'll do current model config dot load from JSON, then this will be config file. Yeah, because I think the idea here is that if you fail as quickly as possible, then you'll catch it in testing and then you can just fix it. Whereas if you don't fail as quickly as possible, it may or may not be caught in testing, and then you'll just have weird errors come in from users. Do you misunderstand? Failing fast is null safety? Oh, okay, yeah. Specifically, you catch it at compile time. This is true. Or not even at compile time. You just catch it, and then hopefully output a good error at runtime. Since I don't really have compile time. Get as text. But yeah, I think that's kind of my approach for this. Since I don't have compile time, we'll just fail as fast as possible during runtime. And then since we're failing as fast as possible, we can also just insert a good error message as well. I'm pretty sure if it happens at runtime, it's not null safety. Well, I don't really have a choice. Since GD script is not compiled. So we do load config, whatever this is. We have large Java style names, oh baby, and this works, right? So setup, if you have the config file, then we try to load config, and then we won't call setup multiple times. We should only ever call setup once, because it also loads in the metadata, which shouldn't happen. It has type checking? Yeah, well, type checking isn't really strong enough. Copy over the result type from GD Lisp? Absolutely not. Actually, I might. I don't know. I do like the result type. The way that GD Lisp was structured, not too bad. I think it made sense to me. It's how I would do a lot of stuff. Not the fastest language, but it did make sense. It made more sense than null. Also true. Also true. Which is, I suppose it's something that Golang does really poorly, right? Is that Golang just has a lot of tuples. It utilizes a lot of tuples. So you need to check for if error is not nil, then blah blah blah. Whereas to the dark side, compile errors for everything. Sorry. I think I would like to use Rust, but I've been trying to use Rust for a few other things. And it's just a huge pain. It's such a pain. I keep running into borrow errors. I don't mean Rust. Are you talking like a fake it in GD script? Absolutely not. Not yet anyways. So we should just load. Oh, that's good. What? Okay, then we broke. Hey man, you did it once and you just said that you like it. Yeah, well, you know, don't take my words out of context. I think once I rewrite this in Godot 4.0, we'll look into it. Because I actually did start. I don't know. I don't think you were here when I was saying that, and I did show it off slightly, as I did rewrite this in Godot 4, where I ported a little bit of it to Godot 4. And so, you know, plus side, not too hard. Downside, GD script is still very, very broken in Godot 4. Like, for example, auto loads, aka singletons, don't really work. You have to, like, I think you just have to wait for them to load and then not access them in any of your ready functions, otherwise it kind of breaks, which is unfortunate. Yeah, which has been an open issue for about half a month, so that's good. All right, so this is, I think this works. Now I need to change app manager. Yeah. Set file to load. So then we do if. Wait. Wait a minute. Alright, so what this does, or what the old code used to do, is it checked the model node in the dictionary to see if it had the model name. Which I think makes sense. I think I can just copy this over and it'll still work as expected. And then I just need to let me think. So I still need to have this function, or do I still need to have this functionality? Maybe I can just roll this into like a last used preset, maybe? I don't know. So config manager, do I have the equivalence of current model name? Do I store that anywhere? So default model to load, should use portable config files, no. Default search term, no. Model data, config name to config path. Okay, so I can do something like this. So we'll do cm dot metadata config, because I can't use just metadata by itself, since metadata is already a property on just every single node. So every node does have a metadata property. So I need to make it distinct, otherwise it's kind of weird. As previously mentioned, I do generally dislike shadowing variables if I don't have to. So let's see, metadata config. If not, metadata config has current model name. Is this what I want to do? Maybe I'm not sure if this still makes sense to do it this way though. Right, so in the previous system, whenever I updated the config, I would pretty much just use that kind of direct path like this, yeah. But now I don't have to do that. Now I just have config data. Everyone shut up, I'm thinking. So now I have the idea of just something completely separate. I have a separate file I can manipulate. Alright, so let's do this. I have come to a decision. I was about to say something different there. As a joke, of course, but that would have been weird. Var metadata name. Alright, so that should work. Make it empty name. Well, let's call it change me. My favorite one. Failed to save. Always a good sign. Then we'll do Here, if cm metadata config has maybe we don't even need to do anything? Yeah, maybe we don't even need to do anything. Yeah. So this is super simplified. We don't even need to do a kind of like an update check. We can just emit the signal. And then in main screen, it grabs this current model path, clean load, model display screen. So we pause it. Do some stuff. I think this actually doesn't do anything, but I'm not gonna change it right now. I think I'll add a comment, like to do. I don't think this does anything. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this only works if I call like scene tree pause, or like get tree pause is equal to true. Otherwise, this is just setting a flag for no reason. We'll create a new one, add child, model display screen. Okay, so this doesn't need to change, this is fine. Bum 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 bum. Model display screen. Alright. My drink is out, so I'll be right back. BRB, grabbing a new drink. Hello. I'm back. I'm back from my bathroom adventure as well. Yeah. didn't realize, like, hadn't used the loo in a little bit. Pretty much, like, I woke up from my nap and then just immediately started streaming. So it hydrates on multiple fronts. Okay, so here's the fun part. So model resource path, that comes from model display screen. So actually, what things do we do here? Yeah, this doesn't do anything, right? Yeah, nothing here needs to change. Oh baby, easy. Look at that. So if we go back to, what is it called? Draw? It's not draw.io, it's appdiagrams.net. So let's decide later, but let's open a file. Open from device. Alright, I do not want to use your desktop app, I'm sorry. Right, so this is our current state that we're trying to kind of solve for, and then we'll refactor later. Is we have our app manager goes to config manager, easy, boom. Pings off a few things. Trigger self, boom, model display screen model. Goes back to app manager, all right. Good thing I mapped that out. Then, oh geez, model is loaded, is intercepted by every single view. So I think that's the next thing that I'm going to update. So we'll go to GUI layer. I suppose I could do it on each base view instead. So I won't change the plan. The plan yeah. The plan stays the same. The desired state is that I refactor everything to just go from the GUI layer. So the GUI is essentially managed as opposed to being managed by just a million different things. So let's see. I'm thinking. I'm still thinking. Should I refactor now, or should I just... No, I'll refactor later. Get the config manager in first. Even though that's going to be a huge pain, it's going to be even bigger pain to refactor the GUI stuff. But once we have the config manager working, it should be not as bad. Probably. Okay, yeah. Let's do it. I have successfully convinced myself. Alright, so this is the big one. I need to change this function, so we no longer want to do this. Remove this. So I think this one can be removed. So we're no longer sorting our config data by specific view. So we have the model view, the pose view, etc. Now I'm just dumping everything in the same bucket, which sounds like it's worse, but trust me, it's better. Source me. Right, because now I no longer need to think about where my data is getting stored. And it also allows for data duplication. I'm saying all of this again just to convince myself, which is probably a bad sign. But, you know, that's how rubber ducking a solution works, I think. Alright, so get rid of this. Loaded config. Still needs to be some sort of dictionary. Does it need to be some sort of dictionary? Yeah, I think if I want to keep compatibility for now, then we can keep it as a dictionary, okay? And we'll do app manager, CM, then we'll grab the current model config, get as JSON. Look at that. And then in theory, this should just work, right? Except for feature view, which uses slightly different terms. So feature view does need to change. So setup, let me see, setup, setup right doesn't do anything, that's fine. This one needs to change, okay. So for key and config keys, instanced props is still the correct thing. Let me add a comment here just so I don't forget. Each field in the saved JSON must follow this format. Okay. Oh, get as dictionary, not get as JSON. What was I thinking of? Which thing uses get as JSON? Actually, nothing. That's good. What? Get as JSON. Get as JSON. Get as JSON. There is no get as JSON. Oh, there is, actually. This one is get as JSON. Because it actually gives you a JSON. This should be get as dic. Okay. So in feature view, this one needs to change, as previously mentioned. And so these are all the things that we're loading in the feature view. Actually, really quick, let's check on our model view. Do a quick once over to just verify that everything will load in properly, right? So inside of our model, we have mapped bones, config. Oh, okay. So all of these need to change as well. Since why did I split this between left and right again? Why did I do this? Who wrote this? Okay, so that needs to change. Okay. So let's start with model view. Model view is the first one, as you can see here. Model view shows up first. And we're also... yeah. I mean, I do have to change these basically entirely because I have to change these because the dictionary format is just completely changed. Okay, let's do this, right? To do re-enable once everything is fixed. So we can just go ahead and remove this. This will no longer work in the current build. And now we do var loaded config. It's just equal to a dictionary. Phenomenal. So we just pass in an empty dictionary every single time. That makes it easy, more or less. And then we can just run it. Should just work. Wait for it. Hey. And so now it's just using all the default values, I think. So we take a look here. App manager, we have our whatever this is. Current model config. That looks pretty good, right? Have all of our transforms. I think it should have saved itself as well. Actually, I'm not sure if it did save. So that's something I need to do. Let's apply properties. Ah, okay, so this is still working off of app-config. So let's get this done. App-config, config manager. So this is from, actually, where was the error? Update config. Okay, so update config needs to change. What is the call path? App manager update config. Okay. And then save config. That's fine. So it's update config. We're changing all of this, so don't worry. So now this is, we're wrapping everything inside of it. Hey, key name data. Huh? How does this work? Oh god. Save. This is base view, so this doesn't even matter. Model view, save. Returns a dictionary of all the keys that we need to save. Okay. 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 So hold on. I'm thinking. I'm still thinking. Lots of thinking going on. What if we do this? I save. And then all save config will do is save the config to the whatevers. Yeah. Or actually, no, we need some way to save. Yeah, update and then save. So save config. Okay, so here's the problem, right? Is that the way the save system used to work is that I would just have random JSON that I would just append to the end of the save file, more or less. So I would either create the key or overwrite the key, and then whatever was, you know, in that resulting JSON value didn't matter. Which is fine if you're not working with a lot of data. However, I am now working with a lot of data. And so now each JSON key needs to... I can't do the JSON key thing anymore. That's basically it. Now I have to actually set these values. So instead of just doing random JSON and then trying to parse the JSON again, now I need to just set these values and then I transform this into JSON later, which makes more sense. Right, so we're not going through 2 layers of JSON indirection. Now we're only going through 1 layer of JSON indirection, which is better. Well, let me see. Just bounce everyone really quick. Update config. Update config doesn't really matter, right? Yeah, we don't really need an update config function. We only need save config. So inside of save config, we'll do how is this structured again? I wrote this on Sunday and I don't remember how it's structured. So config name. So your model data is config name to config path, and then your model defaults are your model names to config name. Okay. So if you do save config, then I'll also need to have another button to say this is the default config for your model, I suppose. And then, okay, yeah, so we can do metadata name is default for model, some sort of bool, we'll say false. Of course, if this is the only one, then of course it becomes the default. So save config, we'll do metadata config. Default search path, no. Default model to load path, no. We're only working with model data and model defaults. So we need to look at two values whenever we try to save our config. We need to first look at our current model config. And then we need to look at our metadata afterwards. So we need to look at our metadata inside of our config data. And then we need to cross-reference that with our just regular metadata. Right, so this is kind of our binding data. That's how we bind our config data to our regular metadata. Or our metadata to our regular config data, I should say. So var mname is equal to, I'm just gonna start typing. Usually works out for me. Because I think this is fairly complicated. Or at least there's a lot of moving parts that I can't, I'm having trouble keeping it all in my head. So we have our metadata, or yeah, just, that's not metadata name, that's like config name, not metadata name. Why did I do that? So this is C name, not M name. So your config name then is default. Right, and these are the two values that I have to play with. I need to cross-reference these. So let's check the model data first. So if metadata config dot model data has, well, actually, that's config name. Yeah, well, yeah, that makes sense actually. I was focusing more on the config path, but actually we're just checking to see if this config even exists. And of course, I think we'll want to add like an overwrite, like to do. That's the Java style to do, or Golang style, or Groovy style to do. Add file overwrite check. Let's see, metadata config model data has C name. Then we'll do, if it has it, do an overwrite check. I guess we just don't do anything right now, right? Or I guess overwrite prompts. And then we need the config path, which almost implies that you can have just different paths. You can load in metadata from elsewhere. Which is probably not a good idea, if I had to guess. I wonder, can you use relative paths when you're importing files in Godot? File. open. File, open. Path. Okay, well, let's Google it. Ah, my eyes. It's blinded by the light of 1,000 suns. Let's see. Godot, open, file, relative, path. Let's see. Hey. I don't think this is what I want, but hopefully one of the answers has something I want. You know, whenever it decides to load or whatever. No, that's fine. Take your time. Yeah, no. It's really good for the pacing, of course. No, you can do it. Oh. Pourquoi? Did my internet go down? Am I still here? No, I'm still here, yeah. Look at that. Look at that ping. Oh, baby. I'm on gigabit, baby. Yeah, I guess it's just not gonna open. So that's cool. I need to know. Both arguments should be paths to files, either relative or absolute. Okay. So I hope this works. You know what? We can check this really quick. So inside of App Manager, I'm doing a thing. What thing, you might ask? I'm not sure quite yet. We're calling setup. Yeah, config manager setup. And so this is what setup does. And so what if I provide a relative path? Right? So we'll comment this out. Metadata path is no longer, you are now I don't know, this? Or is it just dot, single period? Single period? And then we'll see what it tries to open, I suppose. Well, actually, we don't want to do this. We want to do load metadata. So grab this instead. Boom, boom. Get rid of this. Uncomment this out. Remove the line we just added. So I just moved this kind of test code from setup to load metadata instead. So we'll load it. Pretty sure it's gonna break. No. Okay, app config JSON does not exist. That's good. I wonder where it started loading from. I suppose I should just be putting things inside of your app data directory at this point, right? Because that makes it nice and easy, as opposed to just storing things in the same directory, which makes things a little spicy. Yeah. Alright, how do I access the app? It's like user, right? Isn't it? Where is it? It's here. So if not, OS is debug build. Okay, so we should be doing this instead. So no longer will I be dropping all your files next to your executable. Now it's going to be in your user directory. And then we'll just add a note. Maybe not do this? Question mark. So load config. Yeah, this is fine, right? Because as long as, right, if you load in an external save file. Basically one that you've just, I don't know, someone's given you a save file or whatever. I'll load it into memory, and then whenever you save again, I'll drop that new file into your save file path, right? Yeah. And you know what? Let's change all of this, right? So it's not metadata, well, metadata path, and then everything is just saved alongside your metadata, more or less. I think that makes sense. So if metadata config, model data has a config thing already. We have the notes. So then it'll probably just prompt you for like whatever. Or what if I don't? Okay, so just make it simple. I think that can exist outside of the config manager anyways. So config name to config path, and it's all just using the metadata path anyways. Current or metadata config dot model data. So that's what we're trying to manipulate. And then we'll save our metadata afterwards. Or we'll save the config data and then the metadata after. Right? But we want to update these in memory beforehand, right? Model data. So we have our current config data, current model config. We grab the config name, generate a new key, and then we do current model config dot get as dictionary, get as dic. Okay. Right, that makes sense. I think. Does that make sense? No, wait. No, that makes absolutely no sense. What am I doing? Okay, so this is... var file path, some sort of string. So we do a little bit of string formatting. So this is metadata path, and then current model config name. Oh, and I'm not even using these values anymore, but whatever. File path. Right? Right. This makes sense, right? So we have our metadata path. Our metadata path will always be correct, because that's we have to load in our metadata from the metadata path. So then we store this. Your config file will be saved alongside your thing. Hold on. Beautiful. So this is your metadata, and then alongside your metadata, we'll be saving your config files for right now. And so they'll just be stored as just straight JSON, which is pretty easy to do. It does kind of crusty. Yeah. So that works. That works. And then we need to update model defaults. And then here's where we want to do our if statement. So this is model name to config name. You know what? Config name. Config name. And then config name. Since we're using it a few times, we'll do if metadata config model defaults. Yeah, we won't do a get, we'll just do has model name. So how do we get our model name? All right. I think that needs to be stored here as well. So this is config name var model name. Config name model name current model. All right, so these config files are also more or less self-documenting as well, which is good, because they store all the information needed to identify themselves. So we'll do metadata config model defaults has model name. Then we'll do if and is default. Then we'll do metadata config model default model name is equal to config name. So these are all just string paths, pretty easy. Wait. We don't want to do this as an AND statement. If is default, then do this, right? So if you have something listed here for the model defaults already, then this is where we want to check, is this the default or not? Otherwise, if there is no value there, then we want to do current model config is default for model is equal to true. So if you don't have anything there, then congratulations. The current config is now your default config for the model. Okay, so that makes sense. Now we actually just need to save everything, right? So we'll do var config file new. So we save the config file first, and then we save the metadata file afterwards. Let's do it. Config file dot open. Oh, and this should be config path, right? Config path. Config it. Config path. File open. Config path. Then this will be file right. So we just truncate it 100%. Config file dot store string. Current model config get as dictionary. Wait. Get as dictionary. Hold on. Yes. Wait. How does this work? Get as JSON. Get as JSON from metadata works because I can just create the JSON like this. This one needs to be passed through, or this one needs to be stringified, right? So let me see. How do I stringify? How do I turn this into a string? How do I string it? I think this will just work because I make sure beforehand to turn all the, I guess, Godot specific types into JSON friendly types. Yeah. So like inside of feature view, you can look here. Whenever I call save, do dictionary, hold on, base view. No, it's in GUI layer. Update config. What did update config? Update config. And then save config. To JSON. Oh, okay, to JSON. That's how we'll do it. To JSON. Yeah. So there is a to JSON function there. I don't believe that there is a from JSON function. We can check that. From JSON. No. Which is why I have my custom JSON functions. So store string to JSON blah blah blah, then config file, close. Then we'll do var metadata file is equal to file a new config. Well, no, we'll do metadata file open. Hey. Let's just do this separately so we don't get confused. Metadata path. String formatting metadata path. And then I think this is just metadata name. Yeah. Easy. File open metadata path file right, so we truncate it. Let's see. Metadata file store string metadata config. Is it get as JSON? Yeah. Metadata file close. And that's it. Easy. I guess I should remember to close these files after I'm done with them, but I suppose they just close themselves after they go out of scope, probably. But it is good practice to close your files after you're done. Save. Okay, so that should work. Probably. Do I not use my metadata path? Is shadowing an already defined variable? Oh, right. You know what? Let's just do this all in one go. So that's the full metadata path, but whatever. Yeah, I think that's good. So update config, this will just be cm.saveconfig. Get rid of this. So cm save config, so it's update and save at the same time, but there's not really a good reason to do, both of these. These two things do roughly the same thing. Well, whenever you update your config, I don't see why you would ever not want to save it at the same time. Which is why it's a little confusing. So now we just do... Well, actually, we should do this instead. So keep update config, but, we'll just do cm save config. Boom. Like so. Save config. So we do I save wait. This doesn't make any sense to have these as standalone since these return dictionaries. So let's see. All right, so this either way this results in me having to change this stuff. So hold on. Void, so there's no return. So change model view. This needs to modify config manager directly now. So now this is like app manager dot cm dot set. No, it's cm dot current model config dot set. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. And then we'll just do that over and over again. So model view, I think that's good enough. Don't return anything. That's bad. Results. Mapped bones needs to be changed as well. Let's see. Results left. So mapped bones. Mapped bones is just an array. So we'll do app manager, cm current model config set. Well, we can just do mapped bones, right? Is equal to mapped bones. Oh baby. Yeah, so we can get rid of all of this. Get rid of this as well. Yeah. It's showing an error, but don't worry about it. I think that's fine. We can even get rid of it by doing this. Open. The old open and close technique. A surefire way of making things work. So let's see. Yeah, no more errors in model view. Parent signature is dictionary save, is it? What do you mean? No, it's not. You're a liar. Okay, so let's open up base view. Is it base view? So we just need Godot to cache this. Open and close, just so I just get rid of the error, because it's gonna bother me. 100%. Please, no error. Please. All right, we're good. This needs a change. There we go. It's now giving me the new stuff. All right, so left view. Let's actually add this back. So this is left. This is right. All right, so pose view. We can get rid of a lot of this. Let's see. What is this? This is like bone transforms. Yeah, this is bone transforms. So this is pretty drastically changed, I think. So we'll do app manager, cm, bone transforms. Grab this part here. Current model skeleton get bone name is equal to pretty much this. JSON util transform to dictionary, and then we'll just get rid of this part here. Yeah, I think that will work since yeah, I think that's fine. I hope that's fine. Yeah, that's probably fine. Since I took this from a lot of these data values, I just took from looking at my current implementation. I think that's fine. So this is your pose. Yeah. Actually, how did I come up with these values? I don't have them written down anywhere. Whatever. I think this is fine. Bone transforms. Skeleton get bone name. Transform to dictionary. Current model skeleton get bone pose. Yeah, that's a bone transform. And then this is the model transforms. Ah, I see. Yeah, so I think this is correct. Probably. We'll see once it inevitably fails. I don't have high hopes for this working on the first try, but imagine if it does. That would be pretty cool. This is model transform. Model transform is equal to whatever this thing is. And then we want to grab this as well. So this is model parent transform. So app manager. I'm just using the long form of all these names for now. I can indeed shorten them, but for right now this is fine. You know, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I'm doing. My reading speed is also pretty fast, so one of the fastest actually, I would say. I think if you were to put me in a competition against other speed readers, I would come out probably like top 10%. Pretty fast reading English, which is a good quality to have when you are professionally a combination programmer / business analyst / email monkey, etc. Not note taker though. I hate taking notes during meetings. I only take notes when I need to cover my own tracks, which, to be fair, has been happening more and more recently. Okay, get rid of this. So let's see, results. This is for I in instanced props keys. We can get rid of this. So what this will actually turn into is actually, yeah, this is fine. We need to move these around, but that's fine. So feature, this will be, all right, you know what? This is where we'll make a quick change. So this is equal to app manager CM. So I don't have to retype app manager CM over and over again. Actually, we can just do current model config. So this is just config. So this should work, right? Main light color is equal to JSON util. Whatever this is. Actually, why am I even doing this separately? Let's just replace these, since this is exactly what we want. It's main light color. This will be config main light. Let's actually grab this and copy and paste it over and over again. This is light energy. I feel like I always say that. Whenever I say energy, I then say energy afterwards. Main light indirect energy. Main lights specular. And then, or why did I say specular? That's not how I would normally say it. I just say specular. Shadow enable. That is beautiful. It's so easy. And then this one is also pretty easy, right? Because then this will just turn it into world environment. Ambient light color. Ambient light energy. And then last but not least, ambient light sky contribution. And then this one is just, oh jeez. Config dot instanced props append object save, and I think each prop has its own kind of custom save function, which makes it JSON compatible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah. So that's fine, right? So these are all updated. Don't need to update presets because presets just work, or I wouldn't say they just work, but they just kind of do their own thing, I suppose. Preset view. What do presets do? Nothing. Okay. Save. And then I think app settings. App settings needs to be updated. Oh, app settings needs to be updated too. I forgot. Alright, well. I don't know. What things do I have in app settings? Let's do this really quick. Default load path and should track I. Oh. Some of these are not the same. Yeah. If C equals default load path, if C is equal to should track I, something like that, right? Go app manager, CM. This one's actually the metadata stuff. So metadata config. Oh, should track I isn't even listed here. I suppose that's more of like a just general metadata thing, I suppose. Or maybe not. Maybe this is more of like a face tracking thing. So we'll add this to var should track I. Bool true. So this is not metadata config, this is current model config. Should track I to c.getValue. Then the, got this mixed up. Default load path will actually work off of the metadata though. So default search path. So this is metadata config default search path. Alright, I think that's good. Ignore this for now. That just loaded in improperly. So then we call save on each of these. Each view will update the appropriate stuff in the config manager. And then we'll call app manager save config, then which will just do cm save config. Actually, we can change this as well. CM save config. So we don't even need this anymore. Boom, 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 boom. It's no longer a thing. Update config, no longer a thing. This one, no longer a thing. And then load config, I don't think this is necessary. Set model default. Let's not worry about it for now. To do, update this to use CM. Load config. I have no... I don't remember where this is used. When did we call load config? That was up here, right? Yeah, that was up here. Okay, well, I think this is good enough. Let's give it a try. Moment of truth. And then, okay, so we loaded properly. That's good. Apply properties. Oh, okay. Oh, right. This makes sense. So don't do this. So we go back to export. That probably messed up my, actually, that probably didn't mess up my app config. Let's just keep it like that. Apply properties. Okay. So now we're just gonna slowly fix everything. Invalid get index bone transforms on base. Oh, this needs to be current model. Current model config dot bone transforms. One more time. It's a really long name, by the way. Apply properties. Okay. Oh, current. That's why this is tough. All right. Var. See. This is just config, right? So app manager. CM current model config. Okay. Config. And then this one. So that should be good. One more time. Apply properties. Invalid set index model transform on base reference with value of type dictionary. Okay. So inside of our config manager, that was called model transform. That was inside of model view. Model view. Oh no, that was not inside of model view. That was inside of pose. Oh, did I not update pose view? No, I did. Model transform. Model transform. Did I spell it wrong? What? What was the error? Oh, is it not? Oh, it's just a transform. Oh, bone trans. Okay, so I don't need to turn it into JSON yet. That's good to know. Because I turn it into JSON later. Yeah, so this makes it a lot easier, actually. Oh, baby. Look at that. This is so much easier. Now I don't have to do double conversion. It just works. Which means I do need to change a lot of these as well. So preset view doesn't need to change. App settings view doesn't need to change. And then feature view. Yeah, so this one can just be the color, right? Because I convert all of these later. Yeah, this design makes a lot more sense. Or at least it's a lot nicer to work with, I should say. I think some of these are still kind of jank, right? So like this one will still turn things into dictionaries, which makes it a little hard to reload again, but those are more or less self-contained pieces of logic. Invalid set index, main light color with value of type. Oh my god. Okay. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Color. It's just an empty color, I suppose. We can make it color white. Big fan. Also, we can do a shorthand for that. Alright, one more time. We're getting there. It's so close. Value of type float. Main light indirect energy. Is that spelled incorrectly? Main light. Oh, it's main light indirect energy. Double lights. So this is the fun part. We just bang our head against the wall. Hoping that it will work. Main light specular. Oh, good. Turns out I'm not as good as reading. We're not very good at reading. Alright, c.name. This needs to be c.name as well. Alright, one more time. I think we're almost done. Invalid type in function get cannot convert argument 1 from dictionary to string. Oh, it's get name, I.name. I think it worked. No crash? No crash? He's done it? Okay, that probably worked. I don't know. Let's add a log statement just so I know that it worked. Log message config saved, and we'll add one at the very start, which is like saving config. Let's see, apply properties. Oh, there we go, yeah. Gotta love it. And then the file is just called change me. Is that what I put? It's a type file, open with Notepad++. I suppose that's fine. Yeah, there we go. I should probably add a file ending to the end of it. Just so it's not as jank. So JSON beautifier. Let's see, beautify it. Hit me with it. Okay, I think this looks correct. Maybe. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. So some of these actually have multiple values, or I guess more than one value. So if I want to load it from a file, this could be a bit spicy. Could be a bit spicy. Right, oh yeah, so, wait. Huh? What? What? So, yeah, wait, what? Huh? Wait, huh? Oh, and then there's also just a GD scripting here, so that's not good. So scripts should not have this here. You hate to see that. So we're close, we're close. It's a very good try at the very least. Where's the thing where I like just filter out everything? Where's my filter point? Script? Oh, if I.name. I.name. So let's do that one more time, and then we can re-inspect the file. Apply properties. Okay. So this will have changed a little bit. Well, yes, that changed as well. This will also have changed a little bit. So Notepad++. Let's see. Drop this into here. Beautify. All right, so now we no longer have as much garbage, which is good. Model transform. Oh, you know what? Bone transforms. Each bone transforms needs to be converted. Otherwise, it just turns into this, which is a little hard to parse. Yeah, so these are just using the default values. I think bone transforms, I might be better off converting bone trans... Alright, hold on. Type dictionary. All right, so that's your data point. Your data point has, well, nothing yet. So, if it's a dictionary, then we need to check the I value. So if I value, wait, no, the I value, no, yeah. Then I value is a dictionary, so then we can do if I value as dictionary dot, can I just use size? Does a dictionary have a size attribute? I forget. Let me check. Dictionary. Size. Give me a size. Do you please have size? You do. Okay. Size. If dictionary size is greater than 0, then we want to do if type of I value keys 0. Just get the first one and just see if it's a transform or not. It's kind of a weird way of doing it. So if the type of is equal to type transform, then for each key so for each key inside of the dictionary of transforms, you want to do one of these transforms, or basically JSONify it. So for key in I value dot keys, we'll do I value key is equal to JSON util transform to dictionary I value key. Yeah, because that's valid in GD scripts. In a more statically typed language, you would need to create an entirely new dictionary or whatever, but here we don't need that. So this is check for, or I guess handle dictionaries of transforms. Okay, so let's try this again. I think that works now. Apply properties again. Let's peek at the file. Let's beautify. There we go. It's beautiful. It's a lot uglier for sure, but you know. Yeah. So that's great progress, actually. But yeah, I am over time. I do need to go to sleep. Because work is a lot of fun. Lots of meetings, plus I've started working out again. You hate to see that. Oh darn. He's healthy. Alright, so we'll do... Let's touch a docs gd ignore rm docs config file design import git add all. Okay, so I'll do git commit. Let's see, finish config manager save functionality patch existing views to use config manager for saving at least. So I think loading is still broken. I'll need to fix that, but otherwise I think it's more or less works, I think. So I'll push this to the branch. Of course, everything is open source, so if you want to look at the source code, everything is on my GitHub under the name OpenCPageGD. Available under MIT license, and all the code that I've worked on today is under the app config refactor branch, which has, you know, this fun file called config manager. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a day. Thanks for tuning in. I will be live tomorrow from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time, although possibly sooner since my work schedule has changed. So we'll see if I need to adjust my schedule or not. Yeah, so join the Discord if you haven't already. Follow me on whatever. All the socials are in my description below. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.